Hello, this is Stuart Nachbar with Educated Quest. We have a treat this morning from my alma mater, Rutgers University in New Brunswick. With me is Dr. Paul Gilmore. He is the Administrative Dean of the Rutgers Honors College. It covers the School of Arts and Sciences at Rutgers, as well as the School of Business. And Dr. Gilmore is also a professor of English literature at the university. Nicole Barron is the Assistant Dean for Admission and First Year Experience. And honor students get a very different first year experience than the multitudes of about 7,000 freshmen who come to Rutgers, New Brunswick each year. I'd like to thank you guys for joining me today to talk about the Rutgers Honors College.
Thank you.
Could you briefly describe from the academic interest and profile, the current freshman class in the Honors College?
Sure. So our normal freshman first year class has about 500 students, and it mirrors the academic diversity of Rutgers-New Brunswick. So we're the first honors entity at Rutgers that brings together all of the major admitting schools. So as you mentioned, School of Arts and Sciences, which is the largest school, but also RBS, the business school, SEBS, the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, the School of Engineering, Mason Gross School of Arts, and the Pharmacy School. So the majority of our students do come from SAS because that reflects New Brunswick as a whole, somewhere between 55 and 60%. Many of them are in STEM fields like computer science or pre-med, but we also have a sizable number who are in the humanities and social sciences. And then between 10 and 15% come from the next three biggest schools. So environmental and biological sciences, which is more applied. It's the old Aggie school. So the Rutgers is a land grant school. And so that's the land grant part of what used to be called Cook College. And then the engineering school and the business school are all about 10 to 15% of our student body. And then Mason Gross and School of Arts and Pharmacy are much smaller. They're more 3 to 5%. We're a higher percentage of out-of-state students than Rutgers as a whole. We're something like 25 to 30% of our students are out of state. A lot from nearby, New York and Pennsylvania, but many from California. We've actually, I think we're up to 33 or 34 states in our 6 years. I'm still trying to get Nicole to go to South Dakota, but she doesn't seem to want to go there to recruit for us. We have about 5% are international students.
So an aspiring artist or singer could end up rooming with a pharmacist?
That's the whole idea. We think that's where the magic is because so much of what you learn in college is what takes place outside of the classroom. So that's why we require all the students, this year is an exception, all the students to live together in the first year in the Honors College facility, which was built exclusively for us about 5 or 6 years ago. And it is that time outside of the classroom, but also in the classroom where the students are working together in our mission class, the Honors College Forum, and we have the engineering student working with the dancer who's working with the finance major and sharing their ideas and their background. We also reflect the incredible diversity of Rutgers, New Brunswick, which is one of the most diverse research universities in the world. And that's from everything from socioeconomics to religion to race. So there is no majority at the Honors College. And that is one of our greatest strengths, is it's a place where you are meeting the world and the world around you, and then using that as a foundation to go out and think about the world and how we can improve the world.
Nicole, Paul touched on the Honors Forum for freshmen. What are some of the other benefits for someone who is offered the opportunity to be in the Honors College as a freshman?
So I think our incoming first year students have a really cool opportunity with the forum. It's a first year class that all of our students take, and it focuses on social innovation. And I think the fact that we're interdisciplinary in kind of two ways, one, by virtue of all the students that are living together that you may not have that opportunity to live with or take classes with elsewhere on campus. And then 2 is through the different courses that our students are required to take. So the forum is just one of them. Our students are also required to take a burn seminar as well as some interdisciplinary honor seminars. So we're really asking our students to sort of explore. We have a lot of students who come in and say that they know exactly what it is they want to do, but through some of the coursework that we're sort of asking them to do as a requirement, they're kind of finding some different areas of interest or things that they really like doing. So it's kind of a cool way for our students to open up and realize that there might be some other areas that they might want to study or potentially change a major somewhere down the line, which is kind of our hope. But our Honors College first year students also have a cool opportunity in living in the building. And for those of you who hopefully will get to visit our building someday, it's kind of a different space. We have in our Honors College staff office, which I'm actually in right now. So our staff office is located right in the student residence hall. So we joked all the time when we first moved in that our students would come downstairs for advising appointments or to check in with us while they were in their pajamas. And it happened. So it's a cool way for our students to be able to connect with us. And when we talk about the building of community, it's not just among our students, but also the way our students tap into our faculty and staff that are right here with them in the building. So we sort of see that first year as a really important foundation where our students are getting their groove, figuring out who they are, who they can go to for support, and how they can use the Honors College resources to really benefit them.
Faculty live in the building, don't they?
Yes, so we have, we right now have 2 faculty fellows. One is Dr. Aaron Mazzeo, who's actually a professor in the School of Engineering, and he lives here with his wife and 3 children, which also brings a whole other level of community. And then we have Dr. Mary Chaco, who is in the School of Communication and Information, and she lives here with her husband, who is a former women's soccer coach for Rutgers. And then Dean Matsuda, who's actually the academic dean of the Honors College, also lives in the building. So we have some really different ways for students to connect. It's not just academics, but they're having dinner together, they're playing guitar together, and kind of hanging out with faculty.
Are the students knocking on their doors in their pajamas?
I think sometimes they do. They're definitely jamming out on guitar in Dean Matsuda's apartment and kind of more casual wear, I would say. But students are also playing string instruments with Dr. Mazzeo, having dinner with his family. And then sometimes folks will bring in different guest speakers. And so there'll be larger meetings in the seminar rooms or in the lounges, but it's a pretty cool opportunity.
If freshmen couldn't have the residential experience because of the pandemic, will they be able to have it as sophomores, or what accommodations will you be making?
So we're trying to figure that out as we speak. We're hopeful that next fall will be a quote unquote normal, but some of that I think is out of our control. We're still trying to plan and kind of understand from the administration what next fall might look like in terms of housing. I know there have been concerns because some spaces on campus like ours are not apartment style. So it's more of a traditional double space with shared restrooms, which during COVID is kind of a no-no for students living on campus. So I know that students have been able to move in for spring semester, but a lot of those are apartment style housing. So we're hopeful that the fall will look normal, or that there is a potential we could offer a limited number of spaces to some of our current first years in their sophomore year to potentially come and live back here. I know Paul's been working on that too, but I think a lot is kind of unknown for right now.
Could doubles become singles or something like that?
That's a possibility, but then of course we would, that cuts in half the number of students we could have in the building. So we're, again, but like the university as a whole, our first and foremost concern is community health and well-being, not just our students, but for New Brunswick and for the staff and faculty. But it is an important part of the first year experience, is an important part of the Honors College. So we've built out a number of things. We have, this year we have change-making communities, which all first-year students are involved in, which are virtual communities that are focusing on service opportunities that you can do from home. We also have extended advising hours, extended hours for all the staff, for all the students. We have pretty robust mentoring programs for the students. So we're trying to build that community virtually as much as possible. I mean, we like to say that the Honors College is not just a building, because it is a 4-year experience. And even though the students only live there the first year, they continue to be part of the Honors College and see the Honors College as the center of their college life. So we're able to build on that, but it's not the same, of course, during the pandemic.
You just raised an interesting point. You have to follow these students from year to year, from freshman to sophomore, junior to senior. What are two questions here? What are some of the different experiences year to year that exist no matter whether pandemic or no pandemic? And two, what have you had to do in terms of communicating with everybody to follow them?
Sure. So so students are all assigned an academic advisor that they are with the entire 4 years. So that's within the Honors College. In addition, they also have advisors in their schools and usually in their departments. So our advisors are in touch with them constantly through those 4 years. After the first year, most of our students go on to live in honors housing. We have honors housing communities on the different campuses of Rutgers. So both on the Piscataway side of the river and Cook College, Douglas College, as well as on the College Avenue campus where we're located. So most of our students continue to live in those honors communities. We have programming there. We also have events back in the building. We actually have a reunion in October for students who moved out in May. So they can come back. And being where we are, we're kind of located in the center of Rutgers. So it's a convenient place for students to drop in frequently. Some of the things that draw the students the most are a lot of professional development activities. So we have an assistant dean for professional development who's focused strictly on honors college students and working with them, resume reviews, bringing in alumni, bringing in corporate partners to present, to meet with students. So there's a combination of, I would say, professional, academic, and social events that students are coming back to the college to the building for throughout their second, third, and fourth year. And while many students in their third or fourth year will move off campus into apartments, some of them do continue in honors housing. And then in their final year, they do a capstone, which we have a showcase where they present those. So we get to see kind of full closure of their journey through Rutgers.
When do they present their capstones?
In April of their senior year.
By then, would the freshmen that you've chosen, are they still making a decision?
They are. So we follow the May 1st deadline. Nicole?
Is it possible if things, work out health and safety wise, that prospective students who are on the fence like those last couple of weeks before May 1, they could come and visit and see the capstones, see the projects?
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to predict anything.
That's fair.
We've also been talking about the possibility of, if we are virtual again in the spring and we have to do some type of virtual showcase for the capstone projects, to be able to send out the links so that some of our prospective or admitted students could kind of see the projects and hopefully get excited by them and see that the Honors College could really be part of their experience too if they decide to enroll.
When prospective students have received an invitation and they've had the opportunity to tour and to meet you, is there like something that people say more than other things that say, wow, I think I'm gonna move this up a bit higher on my list, or maybe I'm gonna say yes tomorrow and drop the deposit off?
I think a lot of students that we've spoken to seem to think that they know Rutgers, and it may be because they had a sibling who went here, or they went to a sporting event or a camp when they were younger, and so they say, well, I know Rutgers, I don't really have to come and visit. But ultimately in the spring, they'll come and visit with their family and kind of see it through a whole different set of eyes. When they walk away from our admitted student showcases, which are kind of full day academic events, a lot of our students are really blown away by the possibilities of what we're offering. And I think hearing from current students is always something that they said was really like the deal breaker for them, where they realized this was where they wanted to be. They found other students that were just like them, that were really driven academically and want to succeed, but also recognize the importance of collaboration and working together and sort of helping to rise each other up, which we have found from some of our more competitive schools has not always been the same feeling students get from campus. So we've used examples where students have landed an internship at a really big name place like Deloitte, and another friend has expressed interest in that location. And they're like, well, let me see what I can do. Let me see if I can speak to my supervisor about a potential opportunity for you in the future. And I don't know that that type of collaboration or support from peers happens at different places.
That's really interesting. Now, do most of the students receive a merit award of some kind?
Yeah, so every student who's admitted to the Honors College gets some level of merit scholarship. So traditionally, those have started at around a $10,000 scholarship and have gone up to what's considered the presidential scholarship here in New Jersey at Rutgers. And so there's that one covers the cost of tuition, room and board for New Jersey applicants. So it's around $28,000. And the cool thing with those scholarships is that as long as students are following guidelines and maintaining their GPA, those scholarships are renewable for up to 4 years of undergraduate study. So for folks from New Jersey especially, it really does help them out as far as costs and defraying some of those costs, and has kind of allowed some of our students to do some additional things that they didn't think they were going to be able to do by choosing Rutgers. We've had students who have just been like constantly on study abroad experiences when they were looking at some private, more expensive schools, and their parents were like, we can go here, but it's going to limit your ability to make some decisions on experiences while you're there, as opposed to coming to Rutgers, paying in-state tuition, having the scholarship, and kind of being able to do more with that and stretch it a little further.
When did when did the building first open to its very first group of freshmen?
It was 2015, right? That
So,
seems like forever ago.
so you've graduated a senior class,
We have two senior classes.
2 senior classes. I realize the ceremonies might have been different because of what we've all experienced.
Unfortunately, yeah.
What's a senior ceremony like?
Well, our first one where it was in person, well, both of them were actually wonderful. The first one, there were a lot of tears, I think, not just for me. And it was great. I think it was meaningful for the students. A lot of our students said this was the ceremony that was most important to them, that Honors College was, more than the school they graduate from or the university ceremony, which is very big and very meaningful. But this is the community they most attached to and most felt connected to. And so the president of the university was there, the chancellor for New Brunswick, but Dean Matsuda and I were also there on the stage, handing them their medallions, and we know them, right? We've, Dean Matsuda's lived with them their first year. We get to know them. And unlike a lot of big school, the faculty and staff know the students, and it's really meaningful to us to have those graduation ceremonies. They're not just another face coming across the stage.
There's a medallion like you would wear at the Olympics, like if you won the gold medal?
Right, except you the gold medal is finishing all your Honors College requirements.
And is there recognition on the diploma as well?
There is recognition on the diploma and on the transcript for the students who do that, yes.
Now, last question. Rutgers has announced that they will go test optional this year because of the pandemic and kids' ability to take the SAT or the ACT. Will admissions be handled the same or differently if students don't submit scores?
So we're going to let students make the decision on whether or not they want to submit scores if they were able to take an SAT or ACT. For us, we're really going to just then focus and kind of, instead of focusing on standardized testing, we're going to focus on their high school transcript and what they submit and the types of classes that they've taken, the grades they got in those classes. So this is really where a student's AP or honors level classes with an A in those classes is going to tell us more than maybe a standardized test. So I'm actually really excited to be able to focus more on an academic review, because for me, I think that tells us more about the caliber of our students sometimes than standardized tests do. But we're also going to review everything else as we traditionally do in the application. We're really looking for well-rounded students because we think we have something that's a little bit special. It's not just about academics, though that is really important. We want to make sure that students are going to be just as passionate about service as we are, that they understand that the service requirement is something that we're not really flexible on. So we want students to care about getting involved, doing service. If they were employed, we want to know about that, especially if it was an indicator of something that was maybe larger going on in their household. So really, we want the application and the academic transcript to tell us more of the story than relying on standardized tests.
For those out there listening to this, honors colleges are a very special part of a very large university like Rutgers. They are an opportunity to get access to faculty, to learn in a collegial setting, much like a much smaller college that has more resources for dedicated to undergrads. The nice thing about an honors college versus, let's say, a small liberal arts college is you also get to get a picture of what it might be like. What is it going to be like to go to graduate school? What is it going to be like to work with a professor who also works with PhDs and works with our future medical students or law students? And also, there's an opportunity to combine the honors education with other programs within different divisions of the university. Rutgers is a university of social neighborhoods and academic neighborhoods. And this is one way a group of students who are very fortunate to get the opportunity get to create a neighborhood and build a network for life. Nicole, Paul, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for this conversation.
Thanks so much, Stuart.
Stuart.